welcome back to episode 5 of the devlog series for my game engine. There's been a lot of developments within. There's now PBR, there's an entity component system. Yeah, let's just dive in. So a lot of this is like, that's for the editor. You know, it needs to capture the render so that it can display it to a texture in IMGUI. But yeah, this is how you load up the materials. There's a load texture like method in application that you can use, so you'll be able to use that through the IMGUI editor just by dragging and dropping, hopefully. One thing that I haven't got in here that I really need desperately is a resource management system, because currently it just kind of loads everything on initialize right here, and I would like to kind of move that out into a separate thread. So here we got the beginnings of the entity component system. So you create the entity, give it a name so it can be tracked by the app. And then, yeah, you can add the components that you want it to have for the different functionalities. So a mesh renderer, so to render this, FBX model using these textures automatically by the application pipeline. You just have to make sure that you add it. So this isn't ideal. There'll probably be a method in application that can be called to make it better. Alright, so right here there are a few methods using the renderer pipeline. So render, PBR, shape, and lights, they will be removed eventually for entities, so that it can just use the inbuilt system rather than being manually kind of hard-coded in. And then all the data gets sent through to the editor so it can be displayed. So I can boot it up and show you where it's at now. So it's taking a while to load because of the resource management issue that I mentioned earlier. But once it loads, I'll maximize it. Yeah, so this is kind of where we're at. We've got all these kind of primitives. Now, all these shapes here will be able to be rendered by the shape renderer component. You can add to any entity. So currently this gun object, which you can't see at all. Drag it over here. So this gun object is using the mesh renderer, which is a lot more built out. And there's actually like an inspector for it, and it looks quite nice. I just really love how this lighting looks, man. The bricks especially. The plastic's pretty cool also. Unfortunately the gold doesn't look to be very bright, so that's one thing I'm going to be investigating. Also, the specular highlights seem to be slightly off. So that's another thing that will be looked at as a bug. But otherwise, all these panels are using IMGUI, so you can drag them around and kind of make your own layout, which is obviously very important for user experience. And yeah, other than that, that's kind of what's in the engine. So using the menu, I can close it. And yeah, so I won't get too deep into the code, but I did show you the basic process that the engine uses for rendering, and yeah, that's kind of like most of the update for the devlog. Yeah, stay tuned because there's a lot more to come. I'm looking at Bloom. I am looking at skeletal animation, and yeah, I'll keep a focused on those two things, because if I think of too many new features, I'd get distracted and never get anything done. So that's the end of it. Thanks for coming.